Oh my god, you guys will be impressed. Welcome back, you guys, to Choking Hazard. My name is Zach, and today we're going to be talking about Spellbreak, which is a new Battle Royale video game for all the different consoles, PC, and I'm almost positive it is mobile phone as well, or mobile devices. But let's go ahead and jump into this one and explain what the difference is between this one and other Battle Royale video games. We can go ahead and talk about the story of the game. It's basically this, like, apocalyptic event with magic that happens, and how do I say it? It's not a great story. Basically, the gist is that they're trying to give lore and relevance to why there is a battle royale element in this game, but there's not really a reasoning for having this like storm come in. They try to give it some reasoning and some background, but really no one gives a shit about that. It's a multiplayer game. It's battle royale. No one cares about the story. It's not a campaign mission. It's not anything like that. Let's just go ahead and break down why this game is different than other games when it comes to multiplayer, because I think that's what everybody really wants to talk about, right? I think so. Let's go ahead and talk about that. You get 6 different elements. You can pick between any of these elements. They all have their pros and cons. What I want to go ahead and talk about first, because this is the most interesting part, is that as you're picking one of these things, you get a gauntlet, depending on what element you're using. Like, that's acid gauntlet, fire gauntlet. You get the point. Now, let's just say, for example, ice right here. This is the one that I mainly use. If you pick that gauntlet in the beginning of the game, you can get another gauntlet while you're playing the game. So like you can have 2 gauntlets, but you cannot trade out your first gauntlet. So if I pick the ice gauntlet here, I'm stuck with the ice gauntlet till I die or till we win the game. Now the other hand, the right arm, you can go ahead and pick between whatever. You can flip-flop them. You can do whatever you want. You can jerk off. You can do any of that stuff with your right hand. You know, that's up to whatever you decide. I'm not gonna go ahead and and tell you what to do with your right hand. But in this game, when you pick your first element, there's some perks involved into it. So if I pick this ice gauntlet here, it says right here on the top right, it says skill levels, frozen, the frozen, the ice cold tundra, ice prism. All 4 of those are exclusive to the ice gauntlet when you pick it in the game or grab it in the game. So if I go ahead and let's say pick the acid gauntlet, and then later in the game I find another gauntlet to use. So let's say the ice one. If I pick up that ice gauntlet out in the world, when originally I picked the acid gauntlet, I can't get any of these special abilities on the right. So it's exclusive to whatever you're picking in the beginning of the game. So pick the ice gauntlet, you get those perks. Pick the acid gauntlet, you get those perks on the right. If you get the fire, pick those perks on the right. So you want to go ahead and kind of choose depending on what perks for your gauntlet you want. As well as the fact that each gauntlet has its own kind of, I guess you'd say, own type of weapon style. It's very Overwatch-like. I'm gonna briefly go over. I'm not gonna go through all the perks. That's kind of annoying. But for example, this one's a sniper rifle. That's basically what it is. It's a sniper sort of weapon, ice gauntlet, and that's the one that I mainly use. To be honest with you, I use it not really for the sniping capabilities, which I do like. I actually like it for the very first perk you get. It makes it so that you can slide on the ground almost like Frozone from Incredibles. But let me actually jump into the training range and show you guys and kind of showcase some of this stuff. Alrighty, guys, here we are at the training range. I'm going to go ahead and briefly go over some of the items in this area. I'm not going to go over all of them, just briefly over some of them. So right here are all the different gauntlets, which is your secondary weapons. You get a primary weapon in the beginning, or a primary gauntlet, I guess you'd say. Mine is the ice ability, or the ice gauntlet. And because it's my primary, I get specific perks that you can't get normally when you find gauntlets out in the world. This one allows me to slide, so I'm like Frozone from The Incredibles. I can slide using the ice gauntlet, which is really fun, and I think it's one of the better first abilities you can get for a gauntlet. But normally you can't use it like this, only if you do it primary. So my secondary gauntlet, I can pick from any of these. These are all Earth gauntlets, but this is a legendary, this is epic, this is rare, uncommon, and common. So it gets weak to best as you get to gold, just like any RPG. So the Earth Gauntlet does these fissures, which are really, really powerful, and they're pretty easy to hit when people are on the floor. The problem is, if people are up in the sky floating, you can't hit them, and if they're up somewhere higher ground, like up there, and you're trying to hit them, it only will hit the base of the tower. They're not going to be hit. So they have to be on the floor. So it's only good when people are on the ground at the same level, same height as you. That's it. And that's why it does so much damage when people are up close, but it does, you know, you can't use it in any other circumstance. So it's pretty easy. If someone's attacking with the Earth Gauntlet, you can just be like, all right, I'm going to be up here now. Sorry, buddy. I'm just going to shoot you now. Can't do much unless he jumps up here. So it does a lot of damage. I actually think it does the most amount of damage out of the gauntlets in the game, but it has some downfalls to it. Fire Gauntlet's pretty cool. It's like a rocket launcher. You shoot some rockets out at people. It does quite a bit of damage if it hits. It does a little bit of splash damage too, which is nice. So it has a special ability, which is a firewall. That's pretty good. With the rock, I forgot to show you that one real quick. Rock, it shoots a boulder, which is nice. Boom. The ice one is the one that I just showed you. I use like this, it's like a sniper rifle, hit somebody with it. It has a ability that is called Tundra, which, one second, I gotta wait for the cooldown. If anybody jumps in this little ice sphere, they get frozen in place, and you can just basically just shoot them right in the face while they're frozen, which is nice. It's more of a defensive ability, not great for offense. Acid's pretty good. It's like a shotgun, sort of. What I mean is that it's like a shotgun in the sense where if you're closer up, it does more damage, but further away, it does shit damage. So 22 damage. As you go further away, it gets to like 11. Yep. But there's a couple cool things with the acid one, which I found out, is that if you have a specific rune that turns you invisible, and you have a specific perk, if you're using it as your primary weapon, you can do double damage if you're invisible. So it does a lot of damage up close. You can walk up to somebody invisible and go for assassination, and boom, boom, you can basically kill somebody in 2 shots, which is really, really powerful. It gets this farty bomb grenade, which is actually really good. It mixes with a lot of things. Ice can freeze. See, now that person's frozen up there. It works with fire, it works with lightning, it works with wind, it works with basically everything as a combination tool, because, for example, if I'm using wind and I make a tornado with it, I can shoot the acid bomb in there, and it makes this big acid tornado. So depending on the gauntlets you're using, you can kind of make like a super ultimate with it, which is pretty cool. And you want to go for that. So, for example, lightning, which I think is hit scan. I'm not quite certain. It acts kind of like hit scan. It's very useful because if you need to whittle somebody down and they have a little bit of health left because you did a lot of damage with your other gauntlet, you can whittle them down far away with this. And it's very hard to get away. It's very consistent damage. It's a good weapon just to whittle somebody down when they have a little bit of health left. But, for example, ice works with this gauntlet pretty well. So if you shoot and you make these walls of ice, you can lightning... Whoops. I gotta load up that shit. And you can lightning the ice there, and if people go across it, they'll get zapped. I'll show you the animation real quick. See that animation where he was just like getting electrocuted? You're not actually able to shoot during that animation, so you can stun lock somebody and pretty much put the hurting on them. Here's the wind. Acts kind of like a machine gun. Kind of like the lightning, except it's not as hit scan like. I don't even think it has hit scan. I think you have to track with this one completely. Does more damage closer up, too. So it kind of acts like a SMG in Call of Duty. The further away you are, does less damage. The closer you are, does a lot more damage. Also, it has a really good ability, which is this. If someone's trying to get away, and you get them in that, they get sucked into it, kind of like a Zarya from Overwatch, and then you can hit them with whatever you'd like. So these are the gauntlets. These are the common items that you normally get in the game. So, for example, a pendant gives you extra mana. You see that little bar that's right under my reticle? That's purple. Now I can't jump. This gives you more mana, meaning if you have more mana, you have more things you can do. You can jump higher. You can shoot longer because everything uses mana. That includes your guns and your bullets that you're using. The belt gives you shields. So if you look in the bottom left, I have red health right there. It says 100. Click this. Now I have 100 shields. I can drink those shields back up using, I forget what the shielding item's called, but whatever. You can heal, basically, and you have 200 health now. The boots make you run faster, and they're kind of I think the weaker of the items. Like, no one gives a shit about boots. It's normally pendant and belt, which is the big the big two. The next things are runes, and I'm not going to show you all the runes, but these are some of the more important things in the game. So at the bottom of the screen, there's a circle right between my wind ability, which is that, and my ice ability at the bottom. That you see there was the cooldowns at the bottom. They pick this up. Now you see in the middle, there's a additional ability, and this is your B button. You can use it for a number of different things, depending on what rune you have. Now, there's quite a few of them. These are, I think, the most important to kind of use with specific gauntlets. So if you want to get out of jail free card, the teleport is one of the good ones. So if you're attacking somebody like this, and you need to get the heck out, you just kind of, you dip. You can teleport wherever you'd like to go, which is pretty nice. Problem is with this particular rune is that it's such a good get out of jail free card that it kind of takes a long time to regenerate back. I think it's like 6 seconds, and this is legendary. As you go down, if I pick up this, I don't think I can pick it up now. No, I'll pick up this real quick. See, it says 12 seconds to recovery at the bottom. As in, if I upgrade it, it's a 6-second cooldown. So it basically halves once you get from common to legendary. So Shadow Step makes it so you're invulnerable for a couple seconds as you're purple. Can't be hurt, which is nice. Over here, this is the wolf rune. I just call it the wolf rune. This one's really nice because as you roar, you can see people through walls. So you can just kind of sit right here and watch people, move over, boom, shoot, and then get back behind cover because you can see them through walls, which is really nice. The downside to this one is that a lot of these runes, everybody uses them for mobility purposes. So if you need to get out of a dangerous situation, these are the things that you need to use. Problem is with the wolf thing is it has no defensive capabilities. It's more for an offensive and more of a support item that you can use to tell your buddies where everyone is located. But it's not, there's no defensive capability to it, so you just get effed up if people jump on you. Flight rune's pretty sweet. I'll show you this one, and then I'll show you invisibility because it's one of the more influential runes in the game. So flight's another big popular one. Yeah, it's pretty nice. You can kind of fly wherever you'd like to go. You can fly straight up in the air. You can fly up to the top of a castle, top of a hill. Very useful. I'll go ahead and jump to this one real quick. I'll let you guys, if you decide to play this game, kind of figure out all the other runes. There's too many for me to go through. I don't want to waste your time either. Show you the whole game, the ins and outs of the whole game. But visibility is pretty useful because if you just walk up to somebody, and as I said, if you're using acid, you can smack them and assassinate them in like 2 shots if you're really close range. So it's very powerful. The other thing is too is that if you have the perk that allows you to use 2, so if I walk up to somebody invisible, I have a particular ability on me right now that allows me to use 2 runes. So as I'm attacking this person, right, they can start attacking me. Oh, I feel bad. I can just get out of jail again. So I can go in with an invisibility and come back out with an invisibility, which is pretty damn good. So these are all the items in the game you can find throughout the field. You can kill people for them. You can execute people, get their items. The whites are common up to legendary. They all have their different uses. Some of them are shittier than others, kind of like this one. This one, dash, is really, really crappy. But yeah, that's basically the regular items in the game. And now that I've given you the layout of the game and what certain gauntlets do and the items that you can use and the pendant and all the other items and armor and blah, 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 let me just go ahead and give you my opinion on what I like and dislike about the game. So one of the things I dislike about the game, or actually I'll go ahead and do my likes first. Let's stay positive and we'll end on a negative note. How about that, right? Let's always end on a negative note. That's what I always like doing. The good part of the game for me is that it's good casual fun. Good casual fun. It is meant, I would say, for the regular folk just to have fun in the game. Because it's a lot of this game isn't, what would you call it, mechanically oriented. Obviously, mechanics help always. Every game, I think, if you have good mechanics, it's just going to semi-help. But they toned down the mechanics in this game for the average player. So I'll go ahead and give some examples of that.
Oh, what the fuck?
Aha, go fuck yourself.
I'm dead. He's so one. He's so one. He's so one. He's getting me up right now. He's getting me. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. You're the best.
I know. For one, if you get hit in this game by basically anything, you get stunned out of your damn mind. You just get f***ing stunned. So if you get hit by lightning, you stop moving. If you get hit by acid, you stop moving in your tracks. If you get hit by air and someone gets you in a tornado, it stops you. Ice, if it hits you, you get frozen and you get stopped. So everything in this game has a CC or a crowd control ability to it. So if you're expecting to be moving around a lot, and you're like, oh, I want to move around and not get my dick pushed in the entire game because I can't move, this is not the game for you. You're gonna get stuck. You're gonna get frozen. It's gonna be annoying as f***. Why can't I f***ing move? Come on, get the f*** out of here with that f***ing bullshit, dude.
It's time to stop!
Why can't I move? Oh my... This game sucks cock, dude. Like, seriously. He hits me once, and it stops me fully in my f***ing track. I can't do f***ing anything. It's so dumb, dude.
Well, I mean, what do you use as your B movement? What do you usually use?
What do you mean, my B movement? I've been trying to use the flight
your
one.
B. Yeah, flight. So then right when you get hit, basically the first thing you do is just get out of there and hit flight and fly away. Because I very rarely just, like, spontaneously combust in this game. It's usually a slow process for me. I usually get slowly, like, whittled down to nothing. If you're getting, like, smoked off right off the bat, then I would use a teleport kind of.
Yeah, it's like if you get hit, you just can't.
Because if you,
yeah,
I like your.
I don't like how it's
No,
like,
you can't get away.
You can't get away, and you just die.
You have
it's
to have
fucking
something
noob
to get
friendly.
away. You have to get away. So you have to have a B movement. You can't get away.
Now, I can go ahead and show you a perk that actually helps out with that, but I wasn't going to go ahead and get into the perks. I'm just letting you know that if you don't like this game because of the CC abilities, get Harmony, because it's a lifesaver. It's the only way you can just not die in this game from CC. The other thing that you can use, too, is Runic Fluence, which makes it so that you have one additional charge to your rune. So remember I was showing you earlier there was that B button that you can click, and it's like a get out of jail free card. You can use it to fly, you can use it to turn invisible and whatnot. This perk makes it so that you can basically use the rune twice. So you can click the rune, it turns you invisible, you can attack somebody, and then turn back invisible to get out. So this one is actually really useful too. Now, if you can use a rune to get out when you're being like frozen, or if you're being lightninged and you're being slowed down from CC. If you click any rune ability, it just takes you out of the CC. So the only way to survive in this game is to either have Harmony on so you're not frozen, or if you have some sort of rune on cooldown, you can use it. So one of the runes that you can't use a lot of the times is actually the Hound ability, the one that I actually like using, where you can see through walls and stuff like that, because it takes away that one rune slot that would allow you to get out of situations where you're frozen and electrocuted and basically CC'd to death. So if you don't want to be CC'd, you don't use the Wolf Stone, because you just can't get out of these situations when you're CC'd. So what happens is the meta has kind of changed. What I found out is that the meta has changed into this weird thing where everybody uses invisibility, because no one's using a Hound, because if you're using Hound, you get shot one time, you can't move, you just die from just not being able to move. So that's really annoying, and that's why I think the meta has changed into a invisibility thing where you're shooting at somebody, they click the panic button, they're invisible, you can't see them, and normally the Hound ability where you're able to see through walls would work against people who are invisible. So it's a counter to invisibility, but because nobody wants to use Hound, because they don't want to be frozen to death, nobody uses that ability, thus everybody can use invisibility. So the invisibility has basically a free pass to do whatever the f*** it wants. That's why everybody uses it now. It's kind of annoying. But the other thing that I don't like about this game too is there's no headshot multiplier. So if you hit somebody in the head with a bullet from a sniper rifle, your ice ability, shooting with your lightning, anything like that, you don't get any headshot multipliers. So it's very just, if you hit the person, you hit the person. If you don't hit the person, you don't hit the person. So there's not a lot of like very honed in aim in this game. And it's the game is based around when to use specific cooldowns at specific times. If you can use cooldowns at the right time, you can play this game really well, and your aim doesn't have to be the most spot-on thing possible. The other thing is, too, is that if you have your ultimates, you know, your 15-second cooldown abilities that you can use on your gauntlets, you can just like walk up to people invisible, slam ultimate in them, and then blast them down when they're really hurt. So it's kind of annoying. It's not as skill-based as normal. It's a very casually fun game, and is not meant to be played competitively at all. And I think that's kind of rough, because BR games are supposed to be generally competitive. I mean, the whole basis around BR games, where you're in a circle and you have to wither down everybody until you're in that last circle, and you can either survive or just kill everybody. It's kind of the competitive nature. You know, it has this kind of competitive nature to it inherently. And I think with Battle Royale games, they should be on the more competitive side, because that's kind of what the environment is based in, is in competitive environment. So the fact that this game is very casual and it's not very competitive, you know, headshot multipliers aren't there, everybody gets fucking stunned and can't move. You can just walk up to somebody invisible, they can't see you, and you can just slam with an ultimate and basically kill them in like 1 or 2 shots, because, you know, they can't fucking see you're invisible. I think it's just more of just a fun, casual game for regular folks to have fun, less than a very competitive sort of game. Like Apex is more competitive, Fortnite is more competitive, PUBG was more competitive. Definitely Call of Duty is on the more competitive side, even though it has its faults. Yeah, this game is very for the casual fan. So if you're not into casual nonsense and you actually want to hone your skills in a game and be able to hit markers on people and snipe them and hit people in the head and not be stun locked to death, you probably are not going to like this game. In this game, if somebody hits you once and you don't see them, you either have to use a rune to get out of jail, or if you don't have a rune on cooldown, you're basically just dead. And people are just going to just hit you every ultimate, and they're just going to wither you down because you can't move. So that's kind of the gist of the game for me. I like it. It's fun. I play with my friends recently quite a bit. It is a fun, casual experience, but if you want something more competitive in nature, you're not going to find it here. If you want a more competitive battle royale, you're not going to find it. And the game, I feel, it's not as imaginative as it could be. It has cooldowns like Overwatch, which is fun, flying abilities, things like that. There's a Wraith ability, kind of like in Apex. But I feel like it's kind of just a reskin of a lot of other battle royale games. Most other ones have similar effects, just like this game, but they're just skinned in a different way. For example, Hyperscape had a lot of the same abilities that you can use in this game. It's just in a futuristic environment, and in this game, it's a magical spellcasting environment. You have the Wraith ability in this game. You have the Wraith ability in Apex. You just have to be Wraith to use it. So it doesn't feel like there's as much imagination as there could have been. It had the same build your armor, get your better weapons, the same gist as everything else. It just has a different skin, more of a an interesting kind of Skyrim-y sort of skin to it. So I don't think it's that great. I give it like a 5 or 6 out of 10 if I was gonna rate it. And a 5 I would say is like average. I'd give it like a 6. That's my thoughts on it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see ya! Hey, you made it to the end. That means you must enjoy my content, so go ahead and love tap that subscribe button for me. And if you don't like my content, subscribe anyways. My videos are proven to make your schlong longer. Follow me on Parler if you want additional content updates, or if you want to interact with me personally. And join my BitChute channel for additional content. Thanks you guys, see ya.